Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Time for another video, and today I'm tripping down memory lane once again to talk about digital watches. Now, by and large, for the most part, the digital watch has been replaced. Most people, if they're going to have a watch at all, they're going to have a smartwatch, which is technically a digital watch. But when I say digital watch, I'm talking about those, those little LED screens, with the little, basically green background, black text. Basically, your standard digital watch. It was just numbers. That's it. That's all it was. And I'm not talking about the fancy video game watches like Game & Watch or, the flip, the little Ninja Turtle flip up the turtle shell and you have a watch underneath. I'm not really talking about those so much. That'll probably be a more in-depth video when I explore those types of things. I'm talking about your generic black plastic wristband, little screen on your wrist that just tells the time. Basically, your generic Casio digital watch. I usually, for the most part, stuck with the same generic Casio watch. I used to, basically every Christmas, I would ask my mom to buy me a new one from Kmart because I always lost it or broke it or whatever. So every year I needed a replacement digital watch. Now, this specific Casio watch, to the best of my knowledge, is no longer available. They don't make it anymore, or if they do, I don't know where they sell it, because they don't sell it at Walmart. I haven't seen it, and the last time I bought it was like at least 10 years ago, if not older than that. In my experience, I did have some of the, fancier cartoon character. I did have the Ninja Turtle watch. I did have I had a fancy watch that was a drum set watch that was pretty fun. But like I said, I mostly had two versions of the digital watch. I had the standard Casio, your basic little watch with all the buttons on it. It had a stopwatch. It said water resistant, which it wasn't. That was a lie. And the other one I had was the slightly more advanced version of that same watch that had the miniature, impossible to use calculator built in. And I say impossible to use because you had to use basically a pin to push the buttons. And because they were squishy buttons, the pin poked the fucking button, which meant you broke your fucking watch and you couldn't use it. So it was like literally impossible to use. Now, I had an asshole math teacher who would always tell me, take that watch off. You can't use that in my classroom because you can't use a calculator because we don't allow calculators in the real world. Which was bullshit. But I just gave him a middle finger and never took the watch off. I was just like, fuck you, dude. I'm not taking my watch off. It's not functional anyway, so, like, what's the goddamn point? Whereas I do somewhat have, I will argue, mild fond memories of digital watches. Owning them, wearing them, etc. In terms of practical functionality, they sucked. They were a bitch and a half to program. And you had to reprogram them every fucking time the clocks changed, twice a year. And the batteries were impossible to find. So if the battery died, you never knew which specific battery you had to use to replace it. And even if you did, it was a pain in the ass to replace the battery in the first place. You usually had to have a special watch kit to take the back off and replace the battery in the first place, which again, it was a nightmare. So yeah, do I have nostalgic, fond memories of owning digital watches? Yes. But in terms of practical reality, I use this. I use the clock on my phone, on my laptop. I have no use for a Casio digital watch on my wrist. And I will never own a smartwatch because what the fuck is the point? If I'm going to talk on my phone, I'm just going to talk into the phone. Why would I talk into my wrist? This isn't goddamn Star Trek, for Christ's sake.